Hello there, dear friends, and welcome once again to the Relaxed Fantasy Review. On this channel, we spend our time looking at fantasy of all sorts, from books to movies to video games, and applying the characters within into the tabletop game Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition. Today, we're going to be looking at one of the most famous sword fighters in all of fantasy, the hero of Middle-earth and the king of Gondor, Aragorn. Aragorn is a well-known and well-loved character both in the books as well as the Lord of the Ring movies. He is a fearless fighter, often sacrificing himself and standing in the way of impossible odds to save those that he cares about. And how would we take him into a D&D game? Let's have a look-see what kind of fighter Aragorn would be. Aragorn is actually quite an old man. He is from a line that has a very long life, being at the age of 90 in the later parts of the Lord of the Rings movies. He stands a solid 6 foot tall, 190 pounds, with hazel eyes, white skin, and that brown hair that we all know and love. He is a human, and I've given him the variant human, so he will be getting that extra feat later on. And he does have the Outlander background. That kind of accounts for his time with the Dunedain Rangers. His alignment is neutral good, for he is not above going a little bit outside the laws of the land, and the chaos is not unknown to him, but he is very, very good-hearted at his core. But what kind of fighter would he be? For he is a fighter, a melee combatant through and through. And I decided that I was going to make him a samurai fighter. Now, obviously, he does not fit the build of the classic Earth samurai of the ancient Japanese and Chinese lore. But it turns out that the features of the samurai fighter, who was introduced in Xanathar's Guide to Everything, fit him almost perfectly, and I'll describe them here in a moment. As far as his stats go, he has a 16 in strength, being very strong for a man, and a 16 in dex, being quite agile and fast, and a 16 in constitution. He's not unkillable, but he certainly can take a lot of hits and keep going. He's reasonably smart, with an intelligence of 14, and very wise, both able to lead and perceive things with uncanny wisdom. I gave him an 18 in wisdom, and a 14 in charisma. While he may not be the most well-spoken, he certainly knows how to get his way and make his point put across. Now, his saving throws are strength and constitution, and he does gain the wisdom proficient saving throws through one of his features. His skill proficiencies, he's proficient in animal handling, in athletics, history, insight, nature, and survival, all of which really paint the picture of both the ranger and the king, Aragorn. He does speak Common and Elvish very fluently. He also speaks Sylvan, since he can talk to the forest spirits quite a bit. He's proficient in all armor and all weapons, and he can play an instrument because of his Outlander background. I gave him the flute. Pretty standard one for Aragorn. His armor class is 16, since he is seen in the movie to wear a chain shirt under his armor, which is something that is in the book, so his armor class is 16. His speed is 30, pretty standard. His hit points are 112. He is a level 12 fighter. He wields a great sword, his mighty Sword of Elendil, which is a magical sword in the movie, but it isn't shown to have any real magical properties. It's just elven-made and quite powerful. And he does carry a dagger on him, as well as wield a longbow. And he does have a standard pack, an explorer's pack, which he keeps at his side for those times he has to go into the wild. Now, as a fighter, he does get a fighting style, great weapon fighting, because he's very proficient with that big sword. He also gains pretty standard fighter abilities, Second Wind, Action Surge, the extra attack, which he actually gets 2 of, so that's 3 attacks per attack action, and the Indomitable feat and the Tireless Spirit feature. These are all wonderful things that the fighter gets at this level. But as a samurai fighter, he gains the Elegant Courtier power, which makes him proficient in those extra skills and makes it so that he is capable of doing wonderful things with his skills and with his words. He also has the ability to enhance his fighting spirit, giving him advantage on attacks several times, and basically making him absolutely fearless in battle. Now, I also got to pick several feats for him. I picked the Inspiring Leader feat. Makes sense, since he is one of the leaders of both the Fellowship of the Ring and the King of Gondor. He is also a Great Weapon Master, giving him significantly more attack power when he decides to hit hard. And the Medium Armor Master feat. This allowed him to gain the most out of his medium armor that he wears. And I gave him the Slasher feat and the Athlete feat, giving him a tireless amount of pushing power when it comes to his athleticism, and very, very decent powers when it comes to slashing weapons, i.e. his swords and daggers. All in all, he's not a complex character. He simply is tireless, powerful, and stops at nothing in order to protect the world and to keep the Fellowship and his allies safe. He is one of the greatest fighters in fantasy, and although his level is not super high, he certainly swings above his rank and is an ideal person to have on your team, either as an NPC or a playable character. Aragorn is one that will not disappoint. This has been the Relaxed Fantasy Review. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe down below, and keep your eyes open for more character creation coming up soon. Have a good one, my friends.